we're going to go ahead and kick things off here. As a reminder, this webinar is being recorded, and so for those that aren't on, you'll have a chance to record it, and for those that are on but have colleagues or team members that aren't on, you'll have the ability to forward it to them as well, so that they can play back this webinar. So again, thank you and welcome to today's webinar. Exciting topic here from ISI and our Cisco counterparts. Call center metrics without the contact center. I'm Chris Welch, VP of Sales and Strategic Alliances here at ISI. I'll be hosting today and introducing our main presenter, ISI Director of Cloud Operations, Mr. Matt Borgert, and ISI Senior Solutions Consultant, Mr. Dan Mueller, who will also be assisting with the demo portion of our product today. Matt leads our cloud operations team here at ISI and has over 10 years of experience as a business analyst, CUCM and CCX administrator, as well as a PBX and contact center implementation engineer, as well as being a telecom manager. Being a former telecom admin, Matt adds a valuable perspective at ISI on how IT and business teams can effectively utilize Infortel Select. Dan has been a part of ISI, gosh, Dan, what is it, 29 years now? He's held many roles here at ISI and today acts as a senior solutions consultant and is a great resource here at ISI, providing an in-depth demonstration as well as sharing tremendous amount of product knowledge as well as industry knowledge. He frequently interacts with our prospects and customers, identifying areas where they can benefit the most from Infortel Select. As I said before, this is an exciting topic. This is something we've been talking to our customers, our prospects, our partners for many months now as customers look at different ways they can utilize their existing Cisco infrastructure, specifically hunt groups. So again, thank you everyone for joining us today. Let's get things started. Matt, the floor is yours, sir.
Thanks, Chris. So this is what we'll be reviewing today. First, I want to make sure we set the stage and define native call queuing and Cisco Unified Communications Manager. I'll end up using, for short, NCQ and then UCM or CUCM today, so to make that clear. We'll discuss how this can be impactful for your team and organization. We'll review a customer example of utilizing NCQ, and then there'll be a demonstration of the NCQ widgets within Infortel Select and a review of historic hunt group reporting. I also want to provide some details today regarding how this all works with our remote collection software and requirements within UCM. And finally, we'll have some closing comments and answer questions. So during this, when you do have a question, be sure to enter it in the chat, and we'll try to address those towards the end. So thank you. Let's get started here. So let's start off with a real example from one of our customers, a large retailer with lots of stores. They realized their inbound calling activity was not fully visible. They couldn't see who was calling, how long they were waiting, whether they were getting to the right department, and other crucial parts of the customer experience. The business leaders badly needed this information, and they thought the only way to shine a light on these blind spots was through a contact center. But contact centers are complex, they can be hard to manage, they can be very expensive with the additional agent licensing and server costs. ISI helped them by delivering call center metrics without actually buying a contact center. This saved the retailer money, but more importantly, opened their eyes. They can now clearly see calls in queue, available agents, agent status, abandoned calls, and more. Although we kicked this off with a retailer example, this scenario can work in any organization with distributed locations or teams that need insight on inbound calling activity. So this could be healthcare, financial services, government, etc. If you're currently utilizing Cisco UCM or CUCM, while you might not have Cisco's enterprise or express contact center systems, what you do have is all the routing and hunt group capabilities that are provided within CUCM. So let's talk about how you can use those out-of-box capabilities to achieve call center-like metrics without the expense of a contact center. So hunt groups and NCQ are built-in features within CUCM. At its most basic form, hunt groups allow you to distribute calls to a predefined group of team members or phones using different ring types. That could be broadcast, where all phones are ringing at the same time. You could go a longest idle approach, circular round robin type ringing, or put them in a top-down ordered list. A simple use case of this is a phone line that's designated for service calls to a team or group of phones. Call flow can be controlled to who gets the call first and where the call routes if no team member is available, perhaps to a backup line or even another hunt group. Then when you enable NCQ, organizations have the ability to hold callers in queue, play hold music, or wait message recordings while waiting for an available agent. But in addition, when you enable NCQ, this opens the door to understanding more real-time activity from callers, agents, groups for those contact center-like analytics and metrics. So at this time, we're going to paste into the chat a link from some Cisco documentation about hunt group configuration and NCQ. It's the most kind of recent I can find that Cisco provided, and should provide a good direction if you're not completely familiar with the hunt group setup within UCM. So why is this impactful? A phrase we like to use at ISI when it comes to NCQ is call center metrics without a contact center. One of the benefits of a contact center solution is how it can help organizations deliver better customer experiences. And something you would expect from contact centers are those at-a-glance insights into agent availability and productivity metrics. Organizations can use contact center metrics to understand their inbound customer interactions more fully. But you can actually leverage existing CUCM features that I talked about within Infortel Select to create an ad hoc call center that delivers the same customer experience. This combination can satisfy the same fundamental business requirements for call handling, wait time, and overall customer experience measurement. So why is having this alternative important? So if your primary objective is to have call reporting capabilities, this alternative eliminates the need for that full-fledged contact center, which in turn is a more cost-effective solution. So you're no additional Cisco license and server costs. There's not a separate Cisco administration portal. There's no need to deploy agent-level software like Finesse, which can be time-consuming to deploy and then support. You don't have to have a dedicated call center team or facility as you're working with standard Cisco phones and features. And you may already even be using hunt groups and have all that call routing already set up. So you're not going to need to pay a consultant to come in and redesign your call routing or reprogram the call routing under that new solution. Also, Infortel Select and NCQ combined together fills that gap of basic CDR reporting. We'll be demoing Select's real-time customizable hunt group status and hunt group agent status widgets, but Select also provides CDR-based historical reports, which have more detailed and targeted information with hunt groups. Some examples are summaries of group activity and agent level call details, time of day reports, daily, weekly, or monthly trends, and the transferred call path report provides the ultimate cradle to grave visibility by seeing the entire call, essentially the customer journey, even before and after the hunt group activity. Dan will be showing some of these reports later on in this presentation. But first, let's circle back with the example that we kicked off with, the large retailer who couldn't see what was going on with their inbound calls, virtually no visibility. So NCQ was implemented. Each location has a series of departments with their own hunt group. The goal of the solution was to leverage NCQ for hunt group call management. The initial hunt group design and Infortel Select initially rolled out to 5 locations, but now rolling out to locations across the country. And what made it a success? Infortel Select's provided cradle-to-grave reporting gives the opportunity to truly understand the caller experience, where the calls are being routed, to find areas to fix or improve. And then having the hunt group dashboards with call center measurements without the contact center allows the customer to identify high traffic departments for each store. Now Dan will be showing some of those reports that Infortel Select offers. Dan?
You bet. Thanks, Matt. Let me share my screen here and let's get started. So there's a series of historic reports that lie within the Infortel Select application that reveal information about hunt groups, and several that reveal these additional metrics and attributes that help you manage that call center experience for callers. The first and probably most popular of that is a summary report like this. This is a hunt group summary. The report has been tuned in to track activity for 3 hunt groups you see over here on the left-hand side: investor services, new accounts, retirement planning. It provides stats, traffic, call counts on calls coming in, duration, and when you're using Cisco's native call queuing, we can populate these columns of information about queue activity. You can see here in the new accounts hunt group, we've had 27 calls that were queued up. In other words, there was not an agent immediately available, so native call queuing kicked in, provided those callers with messaging while they're waiting or music, and Infortel Select then reveals reporting, like you see here, on those 27 calls, the percentage of calls that are queued, and important attributes like total and average queue duration. This gives you a picture into what those callers were experiencing when they couldn't get directly to an agent. This report also provides visibility into the ring time, abandoned call counts and percentages, and even information such as, did some of those calls end up getting redirected to voicemail? So at a high level summary, this is a tremendous report to give some visibility historically over a day, a week, or a month, how many calls hit the hunt groups and what happened to those calls. Probably the most frequently asked questions I hear about hunt groups and native call queuing. The second most popular report I want to share with you allows you to drill down into hourly call activity. So it gives you many of the same metrics, but it adds the component of what time of day did this happen? When did those agents take the most calls? And obviously you can see with that histogram curve across the bottom, that distribution of the call activity, the dips, the peaks, and this is really helpful for understanding how you want to staff up those agents for particular hunt groups with native call queuing. So nice stats down the left-hand side of some of these same attributes, each of them presented on an hourly basis throughout the business day. The third and final report I want to share is another popular report, and this answers the question, which agents are answering those calls? Probably the second most common question I get asked about hunt groups and native call queuing. This is a summary report, and we've taken a look at those same 3 hunt groups: investor services, new accounts, and retirement planning. And this shows me for each of those hunt groups, who are the agents that took calls during the reporting period, either by agent name if you're naming your agents, or simply by extension number if you're just reporting by extension. Either way, you get that visibility in the call counts. Who's bearing the load? Of those 654 calls that came in during this reporting period, you can see which agents took the load. And as you define in the report parameters, what other fields do you want to see about those calls on a per agent basis? Their queue times, their ring times, the abandon rates, and so forth. So this gives you some visibility at the agent level within each hunt group. There's a series of other reports that might be useful, but these are the 3 that I wanted to showcase for the purposes of today's discussion. So Matt, I'm going to turn back over to you. Let's take a look at what the real-time visibility gives us around hunt groups.
All right, so we are going to transition to the NCQ widget demo. Let me share here just a moment. Okay, so at this time, you should actually be looking at the contact center dashboard within Infortel Select. We'll be looking at these 2 widgets, Hunt Group Status and the Hunt Group Agent Status widget that exists within this module. A key item to understand regarding the purpose of these widgets are to get point-in-time information. We'll also see metrics that are cumulative in nature, but those are for a rolling period of time. The default is 8 hours, but that can be adjusted. If you're looking for end-of-day totals or reports based on an exact time range, that's when the Infortel Select provides those wide range of historical reports that Dan just demonstrated. So on the left-hand side here, we're looking at the hunt group status widget. And the purpose of this widget is to provide information at the hunt group level. This lists hunt groups with their current ready agents, talking agents, and calls in queue. And we're directly querying CUCM for performance monitor values that are stored within CUCM, but not really readily available through any sort of administration portal. We're also identifying call volume for each hunt group. Now, something that we can do here is we can edit the displays. I go to edit widget. For example, if I only want to focus on maybe service type groups, I can edit there and select the specific groups that I would like to view in this widget as it's now reloading. And then if, for example, I wanted to look at 100 groups that are receiving the most calls, there's a variety of different sorting options available. So I could do call handling, sort by descending, and then that will sort by the calls handled at the top. So it gives you a variety of different ways to organize the data in this display to meet your needs. On the right-hand side is the Hunt Group Agent Status widget. Here we're keeping track of individual status of Hunt Group members and their cumulative call totals. We recently made some improvements to better handle agents who are members of multiple hunt groups. So you no longer see the same name repeated for each hunt group that they're in, but instead, as you can see here, as agents get calls, we're showing the number of the active caller and what hunt group they're getting a call on in these two columns here in the middle. This widget also has the same capability. If you hit edit widget, you can limit what hunt groups display in this particular widget. We can also increase the count of how many agents display in this widget and also change the size. So let's say we want 2 times the height to display even more width or more agents. That's possible. And then if you have widgets that have specific needs, it's a good thing to note that you can add multiple versions of these widgets. So I just added another hunt group status widget, which then I can change and update the settings to personalize that kind of specific widget for this display. So a big question that we have is this real time. And something to note is we're collecting and processing a stream of data measured in seconds. We're not dealing with periodic file uploads or bulk jobs behind the scenes here. These widgets aren't based on any historical or CDR file-based data. The product is actually writing data into a stream into our Azure Event Hub, and then our internal cloud service consumes the Event Hub stream for data presentation on this widget display on this dashboard. So we are going to transition back to the presentation at this point. All right. So before we get into more questions, the one common question we do get is how does this work? So I want to talk about that for a minute. So within the customer network, the ISI remote collection software needs to be installed on a Windows server. This software can provide many functions. So if you're already doing something like directory imports using Active Directory or straight from CUCM, you may already have this installed. And then remote collection communicates to CUCM over 2 ports. It uses, for CTI traffic, TCP 2748, and that's to capture the agent level and phone event details of what's going on with these hunt groups. And then we make Axel queries over TCP 8443, and that's for reading the resources of all the hunt groups, the members, and to get those pilot hunt group statistics. Remote collection then takes the data and transmits it to ISI's Azure Event Hub instance over the standard outbound port TCP 443. And then from there, Select then displays the data received within the NCQ widget dashboard. So there are some configuration requirements with CUCM to address. We do use the Hunt Pilot alerting name to display the Hunt group name within the widgets. And then to take advantage of NCQ, there is an option labeled Q calls that has to be enabled at the Hunt Pilot level. And then the option display line group member DN as connected party also has to be enabled. At the directory number and device configuration level, again, we're using alerting name, and the option allow control of device from CTI has to be enabled. And we found for many customers, much of this is already done by default with the standard practice of building directory numbers to devices. So it makes that a little easier. And finally, the remote collection software utilizes an application user within CUCM to authenticate to CUCM to get the CTI and EXO data. So to provide necessary permissions to that user, we find it best just to create a new access control group to set the permissions there. And then the devices to be monitored need to be assigned to that application user. So this is done at the configuration at the application user level. And certainly ISI has all the instructions on how all this is done. But we also have some custom data gathering utilities to help set up Hunt groups and devices. With that, I believe it's time to review any questions from the chat.
Hey, great job, Matt. It looks like we do have a question from one of our existing customers asking, they do not see this portal access for contact center in their ISI portal today. So if that's the case, that most likely is because you haven't purchased this. So the real-time queuing and historic reporting for native call queuing is an add-on module for ISI. It's a simple license uplift. Speak with your account manager and they can work with you in getting you budgetary pricing to see about adding that to your existing ISI instance in the cloud. Another question I see, the recording. Yes, this recording will be sent out to everyone that has registered so that you can review it as well as send it to any of your colleagues. Any other questions? It looks like that's it for right now. So that said, Dan, Kevin, Matt, great job, guys. A lot of exciting content here today. As I said, this has been an exciting topic for ISI for the last 3 months. Organizations are looking at ways to consolidate their contact centers. Believe it or not, there's tons of customers of ours that are rolling out contact center to miscellaneous offices or back office workers just to get enhanced or better reporting for queues or taking calls in queue. And so leveraging Cisco's Hunt groups with native call queuing is a fantastic way to reduce overall cost in terms of contact center, but more importantly, ensure that you have the insights and the visibility into calls that are being placed in queue and have team members answering those calls to deliver contact center-like metrics. What's exciting here, and for those customers that are considering WebEx calling, just note this sort of functionality is going to make its way into WebEx calling as well. So you have a trusted partner in ISI that will support you on that journey, as well as a lot of our customers who are on-prem CUCM customers are considering going to WebEx calling. ISI has an integration today and does support WebEx calling as well. So talk to your account manager about that. With that said, thanks again, everyone, for joining and taking the time out to see Dan do a sneak peek into the reporting, Matt do a sneak peek into the demo. Hopefully you're all excited, and you will be followed up with by your account manager, who will reach out to answer any remaining questions that you have. And more importantly, if you want to see a demo, a deep dive demo into this aspect, they can work with you in scheduling that. Otherwise, feel free to visit our website. You can enter, you can use the contact form there if there's any sort of urgency, so that someone's reaching out to you as soon as possible. Thanks again for joining us today. We look forward to speaking with you soon.